It's time to turn your life-challenging moments into life-changing messages. Welcome to the Power Lift Stories podcast, where we are interviewing women whose stories will leave you lifted up, fired up, and fueled up with hope, courage, and inspiration. We want to thank our sponsor, Powerful Journey, who helps women tell their stories, write their books, and building a profitable brand around both. Join the Masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com. That is PHYLLISJENKINS.com. Now here's your host, Phyllis Jenkins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are so excited to be back today with another interview. This time we have Miss Helen Mazier. Helen is a native of Greenwood, Louisiana, and Wascom, Texas, and then she can share a little bit more about that later on. But for those of you that don't know where Greenwood is a suburb of Shreveport, Louisiana. So they are just right there. And then Texas, Wascom, Texas is
on the border.
It's on the border. It's on the border of Louisiana and Texas. So give you a little reference there of where these cities are. But again, we have Helen Mazier, and she is a beautiful woman of God. She's a wife and a mother. Helen and her husband have not only raised their own children, but they are foster and adoptive parents as well.
Yes.
They have had over 23 children to come through their home, and out of that 23, they have adopted 5 of these children for their own. Helen, hats off to you. That is so very great. Helen is also the president of the North Shreveport Lions Club, and she sits on the board of directors for the Fire District 3 Fire Department. Helen also works with the Caddo Community Action Head Start program on their policy council. And she is a member of a wellness group, which we'll hear more about that. Helen and these women are all champions because they are survivors of breast cancer. And we are honoring these champions this month as we celebrate Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So Helen, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And just for my listeners, I have to tell you, Helen and I knew of each other many, many years ago because my mother was the musician. My mother, Mrs. Margaret Bird, was the musician at their church. So it has been some years since Helen and I have seen each other, and I'm so honored and excited to have you here today, Helen. Welcome. So Helen, as we get started, before I ask you to share your amazing story, if you were to give your story a title, what would that title be and why?
Overcoming and worthy. And to tie those in, I was never a victim of cancer, so I'm not a survivor. I'm an overcomer.
I love that.
An overcomer of cancer. Because when people say, well, I survived cancer, that means that you're a victim, you were victimized. And I never allowed myself to think of myself as a victim. So I overcame cancer by the word of the Lord and the power of my testimony. I overcame that. And worthy because over 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ died for us.
Yes.
So we're worthy of healing. We're worthy of everything that he has given us. So it would be overcoming and being worthy of it.
I absolutely love
the things that God has given us.
I absolutely love that. And if we said no more, you've helped many women right there, right now. It is truly the mindset. And I love how you said that you didn't see yourself as a victim, but
No.
of how victoriously you came through this and with the mindset that you had.
Yes. Yes.
So how great is that? So Helen, would you now share your amazing story with us?
Oh, yes. And it's so amazing because when I went and I had a mammogram in December, and it was 2001. I went and had a mammogram, and it was clear because I was used to having a mammogram every year after I turned 40. So I went and had the mammogram, and it was clear. And around February of 2002, I was taking a shower and I felt a lump. And I said, wait a minute, hold up. Did I bump myself? Did I hurt myself? And I said, no, I don't remember, bumping or hurting myself. So that was in February of 2002. So in March of 2002, I felt this thing and it was still there. And I said, well, I told my husband, I said, well, hon, I need to go and get this checked out. And I said, because this is just abnormal, and the thing, it didn't get bigger, but it kind of, since it was in my breast, and I'm saying, okay, I need to go get this checked out. So my husband said, yeah, so you need to go and get it checked out. So I went, had another mammogram the latter part of March 2002. And so when the results came back, the doctor looked at me and he says, yes, there's something there, but we're just going to watch it. I said, okay. I said, now, how long are we going to watch it? And so he says, well, we're just going to make sure it doesn't grow. It doesn't do anything. So around April of 2002, I went back to him. I said, wait a minute, this still does not feel right. I just don't feel right with this. I said, so I need you to look at it again. And when they looked at it again, they found out that it had grown. And so I said, well, wait a minute, hold up. So he said, well, I need to do a biopsy. I said, okay, I'm ready for that. So May of 2002, I went into the hospital for them to do a biopsy. I took my daughter Glenette with me because, support system. Yes. Always make sure you have a support system. So I took her with me. And so they did the biopsy. She brought me home. I healed from that. And they called me within about 3 days. And they told me, say, yes, I need you to come back in. So I went back in. And they wanted me to talk to a surgeon at that time. And so when I talked to the surgeon, he looked at me and he says, I have bad news. I said, okay. I said, what's your bad news? I mean, my mind had been prepared. God had prepared me 2 or 3 days before. Mm-hmm. And so I said, what is the bad news? He says, we found that your biopsy was positive for cancer. I said, okay. And believe it or not, and most people don't know this, no matter how much God you have, no matter how much reading and research you've done, when you hear the word cancer, it knocks you to your knees. Mm-hmm. It overwhelms you, And I sat there and my daughter, tears was just rolling down, but it was like I was not even in the room. And so I looked at him finally, and he kept asking me, so Ms. Mazier, do you hear what I'm saying to you? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And I said, yes. I understand what you're saying. I say, now that you've given me this news, what are we going to do about it? Mm. He said, what are we going to do about it? I asked him that, and he looked at me, he says, did you understand what I just said to you? He said, I just gave you a diagnosis of cancer. I said, I heard the diagnosis, but I want to know what we're going to do about this. I said, because I want it out of my body. I have a life to live. My husband and I had just adopted 2 little girls, and I don't have time to be sick. So I need to know what you're going to do about this. And he just, it was like I took the wind out of his sails because he's expecting me to break down, to cry, scream, holler. And my mindset is that right now, I have to trust God. I have to trust God. That was my mindset. And I looked at my daughter and I told her at that point in time, I said, I need you to stop crying right now. I need you to stop. And she said, but Mama, did you not hear what he said about you? She said, you could die. I said, baby, I could walk outside of this hospital and get hit by a bus and die. I said, but the Bible says I shall live and not die.
Yes.
And proclaim the works of the Lord.
Yes.
I said, so I need right now for you not to be fearful. And I need faith in you. I need to call upon your faith as well. So the doctor is sitting there looking at me because I did wipe my eyes. I'm doing now, wipe my eyes. I said, now, how long is it going to take? He said, how long is what going to take? I said, I need to know about the surgery. I need to know about the time it's going to take me to heal. I need to know all of these things. And I have found in my walk and in my journey, sometimes you can know too much, have too much information, and you don't know what to do with all of that. So I wanted to hurry up and get it out of the way because I did not have time to be sick because I'm trying to raise 2 little girls. All of my biological children had left home, gone on to college, gone on to the military, living their lives. But I still have 2 little girls that my husband and I, 3 at that time, 3 little girls to raise, to get them prepared for school and everything. So anyway, they did the surgery. I did not get a full mastectomy. I was praying one Saturday and I said, Lord, I am not a vain person. I said, but you gave me body parts and you gave them to me for a reason, to make me a complete person. I say, I don't mind if they have to cut this breast off. I really don't. I said, but if it's in your will, would you leave it there? Would you leave it there? And so I was praying this prayer. I said, now, Lord, you gave it to me. Only you can fix it. So when they finally called me to come in to do the surgery, they did a lumpectomy rather than the full mastectomy. So they removed the lump and everything that was around there. They removed 21 lymph nodes out of my left side. So that compromised my immune system. So my immune system is very, very, very low right now. Well, it's low anyway. But in all of that, I had my daughter's wedding coming up. She wanted me to make her bouquet. I didn't know if I would be able to use my arm to do that because on the 5th of July, they did the surgery on me. She was getting married the 2nd of August. So I had to do a bouquet and that type of thing. I didn't know what I was going to do. I promise you I didn't. But you know what? God has always, always, always made a way. And I told my doctor when he did, and I was coming out of anesthesia, and I told him, I say, he said, well, Miss Mazier, you came in through surgery really well. You did good. I don't see any problems, but you're going to have radiation. You're going to have chemo. You're going to have all of these things. And I was so thankful to be alive. I told that man, I said, you know what, whatever I have to go through, I know I can go through.
Yeah.
I know I can do this. I said, and I have a time limit. He said, what are you talking about? I say, December the 31st, I want all of this to be gone because I don't want to go into the new year with all of this hanging over me. So he says, you got a lot of work to do. I said, and I believe that. I said, but I'm up for the challenge. I can do this.
That's great.
I said, I'm going to do this. Believe it or not, when my daughter got married, I was bald-headed as a duck because I had to have the first chemo treatment. And he tickled me so bad because he told me, he says, now, when you take chemo, he said, all of this beautiful hair that you have is coming out. I said, oh God, are you serious right now? He says, yes, you're going to be sick as a dog. You're going to be, he was giving me the worst case scenarios. And I'm saying, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Can I handle this? Can I do this? And God told me, yes. He said, I did not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. I said, but God, my hair gonna fall out. Ain't nobody, my husband is gonna look at me strange. I say, so I went and bought a wig, Phyllis. I went and bought me a wig. I had to go to a conference. It was so funny. I had to go to a conference. And I went and bought me this beautiful, beautiful wig. My daughter helped me pick it out, and the man cut it to my specification. By the time I got to Dallas to my conference, that wig was sideways, my head. And I'm saying, okay, let me straighten this wig up on my head, get my makeup all straightened out. I mean, I'm going through chemo at this time, and it is so funny because this wig is like, And so I get to Dallas, I get on an elevator, I see this beautiful, beautiful Black woman, and she has earrings in her ears about this big, right? And she is bald-headed, and she is glowing. And she is beautiful. I snatched that wig off my head, put it in my purse, and I never put it back on.
I love
and I
it.
say that to say, I had so many people that God sent across my path that showed me the way to get through this. So that's the reason I say I became an overcomer of breast cancer. And my relationship with my children got better. It was already a wonderful relationship, but they showed up and showed out because they became my support system. I had been their support system all of these years. And through school, through Head Start, through everything they wanted to do, and showed up and showed me, okay, Ma, we got you. My husband, I called 3 people when I got my diagnosis. I always do things in threes. I never knew why until then, but I always did things in 3. And I remembered it was the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I did things, and I never knew why I did things in 3s. But during the time, I called 3 people when I got my diagnosis. I called my husband, I called my sister, and I called my pastor. And I knew that those 3 people had my back no matter what I was going through. And when I called my husband, I told him, I said, honey, I said, we have some good news and some bad news. He said, what's the good news? No, first, what's the bad news? I can take the bad news. I said, well, I have breast cancer. He said, okay. He said, how do you feel about that? I said, right now, I'm kind of numb. I don't know what to feel. I said, but I know that God is able.
Yes.
He said, okay, I know where your headspace is. I called my sister, and my sister, the first thing she wanted to do was cry. I said, hold up, stop. I need you to stop. I said, because I need your faith right now, not your fear. I need you praying.
I love that.
I said, so get on the phone, your praying circle, and start praying. Right now, I need you to pray. I called my pastor. My pastor told me, he says, where are you now? I said, I'm still at the hospital. He says, well, by the time you get to Greenwood, I will be there. So by the time I pulled into my driveway, my pastor was pulling into my driveway. He bought me 3 things, Phyllis, 3 things with him. I always say 3 things. He bought 3 things with him. He bought me communion. He bought me prayer. And he bought me healing scriptures. Those were the 3 things that he bought me. He bought me a whole bottle of grape juice, Welch's grape juice, and crackers. He said, every day, give yourself communion, every day. Every day, give yourself communion. And say to yourself that in this communion, I am doing exactly what Jesus said to do. As often as you do this in remembrance of what I've already done. I've already healed you. It was a finished work at the cross. I've already healed you. I died once and for all. I don't have to die for your healing anymore. You already have it.
Mm-hmm.
When my pastor told me that, Phyllis, it changed my entire outlook on what I was about to go through. It changed my whole entire outlook. He prayed for me. And the prayer that he prayed for me was all about the healing and my going through this. The healing scriptures that he gave me, I read them every day. Every day I would go into my prayer room, as I would say, and I would pray. I would say these healing scriptures over my body every day. And I was walking by faith and not what I saw. Because if I look at me, I was a hot mess. I looked like death, okay? And the devil wanted me to see death on me. And I'm gonna tell you something that I want your audience to know. The devil is always gonna come to you at your weakest moment. He's always gonna come to you at your weakest moment. My weakest moment, my midnight, would always be after 1 o'clock in the morning. And the devil would tell me, you know you're gonna die. You know you're gonna die. And I would have to speak to myself. I would have to encourage myself at this time. And I would have to speak to my body. A lot of the women that I talked to would tell me, well, I have to go to bed and stay in the bed. I couldn't stay in the bed. I had to get up. No matter how bad I was feeling, I had to get up. I had to start moving. Because action. So if I'm in the bed, I couldn't get myself into the devil and the disease. So you have to get there because that number one is your strength. That number two gives you and tells you you can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it. Whereas your eye has to say, I can do all things through Christ.
Yes.
Daily.
Yes.
Daily, I will strengthen. So in this journey, I call it a journey because I had to walk through it. I moved through it. I had tested. I had children to raise. My husband looked at me one day. He came for lunch, and I was feeling so bad. Oh my God! I had just had chemotherapy. The morning he came home for lunch, and he said, "Honey, I'll fix lunch." I said, "No, I'll do it." And I got out of their bed, and I went in and I fixed him lunch. And I was so upset with him. And I tell this story all the time. He laughs about it now. I was so upset with my husband. I was. Because out of everybody that was praying for me, he didn't pray for me. And I said, well, honey, I was feeling some type of way that you done laid hands on other people and prayed for them. And now your wife is going through and you had not prayed for me. And he told me, sitting there, I was watching him eat because, I couldn't eat at that time. And he was sitting there and he looked at me. He said, I need to pray for you now. And I said, wait a minute. Now you want to pray for me? I said, all of this time you haven't prayed for me and now you want to pray for me? He says, it wasn't time for me to pray for you. And Phyllis, that man took me by my hands and we prayed in our dining room. And the only thing that I remember him saying to me at that time is that we're one. We were no longer two people when we got married. We became one. He says, and so that means that you are me and I am you.
Wow.
And since I am you, I'm not ready for you to go. You're not going anywhere. He says, because we're one. And my body is healed, so that means that your body is healed because we're one. We're one in the same persons. And I thought about what he said, and the next thing I know, we both were getting up off the floor. The Spirit just came. And I was telling my pastor at that time, I felt the rafters in my house shake because of the prayer that my husband prayed for me. I said, and that was the only thing that I remembered after that was getting up off the floor. He and I both were getting up off the floor. And I would like to tell the women that are listening, men, because men are getting breast cancer as well. And a lot of men don't realize that if it's in their families or if they have that gene, that they can have breast cancer just as well as women. And it's a battle. It's a battle for men to accept the fact that they have breast cancer. But I want them to know, please examine your bodies. Mm-hmm. Women, please examine your bodies. Because I had a mammogram. I had 2 mammograms, and it did not show up until I examined myself. So please, 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 when you see something and you feel that something is different in your body, please get that checked. And like I said, I was never a victim of cancer because of the way I thought about it. I've had cancer, and it's so funny, Phyllis, because now I've had cancer twice. Whereas the doctors told me my numbers don't add up to have cancer once. They don't even know why I had breast cancer. But I tell you this, and this is the reason I say it was a journey. God still asks the question, have you noticed my servant, Helen? Have you noticed her? If God is the same yesterday and today and tomorrow, that means that he's still asking the question that he asked the devil when God showed him Job. Have you considered my servant, so-and-so? Because everything that we do is a test. Test becomes testimony.
Yes. Yes.
And my testimony at this time is that be an overcomer. Don't be a survivor. Be an overcomer. Because you can overcome anything that's out there. Because anything that has a name is already under the feet of God. He's already dealt with it. I read the last chapter in the Bible, which is Revelations. And it says, we win. We win.
Yes.
No matter what the situation is, we win. That is good news to me. So even if I had died with cancer, I still would have won. Because the Bible tells me to be absent from this body is to be present with the Lord. Yes. I win.
Yes.
But I had children to raise. My husband told me, you are not leaving these 3 little girls here for me to raise by myself. Oh, we adopted them, so we have to do this together.
That is good. That's good. Well, wow. There you have shared.
That was 18 years ago.
18 years. Wow.
Well, yes.
Helen,
Cancer,
what?
Survivor, overcomer, 18 years.
What an amazing, powerful, compelling story you just shared. And oh my goodness, so many wonderful nuggets to take from that, you know, yes. Watching our mindset, knowing our bodies ourselves. And I love when you said you surround yourself with people that had faith and not fear. I need your faith and not your fear. So as we bring our interview to a close, I just want to have you imagine that you just shared your story, which you did, and you were on a stage where there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women, just a sea of women as far as you could see were there. And they have stood to their feet to give you the grandest applause. But now all of the women have turned to walk away. The curtains on the stage have closed. And now, Helen, you were turning to walk away, to go to your vehicle, to go back to your destination. What are the 3 things that in your heart you hope that every woman walked away with? 3 things.
Okay. 3 things. Faith, your willingness to know who you are in God. Don't let anyone steal your power. You have power. You can talk to your body and tell your body it's going to be healed, it's going to be well. So you have power. Then you have to have that instinct, that mother with, as my grandmother used to say, that mother with, to know that you are the greatest being that God has put on this earth. You are the greatest being that God has put on this earth, and you are worthy. You're so worthy. And women, a lot of times, we don't realize our worth. We are worthy of everything that we are encountered with, all of the good things. So those are things that I would love for women to understand. Your faith, you got faith. Use your faith.
Mm-hmm.
You have power, and you are worthy. Always, you're worthy.
Wonderful. Well, Helen, I know that your story, your message has gone forth and that it has blessed many listeners this day. And to our listeners, I ask that you share this podcast with another
Yes.
woman who you know will benefit from what Helen has said today. And Helen, did you have some resources that you'd like to shout out right now?
Oh, yes, yes. If you're in the Shreveport area, and I know it has it all over the country because I share this message with other women. If you're in the Shreveport area, even if you're in the Dallas area, I know that over there you guys have Baylor University.
Mm-hmm.
There is and I know in Shreveport where I do the wellness class, I go to the wellness class every 3rd Monday. Get into you a group of women that are going through some of the same things that you're going through. Because believe it or not, there are so many resources to women that have breast cancer, that women that are going through different situations. And we have a wellness class at University Health here in Shreveport. And oh my God, it has opened my eyes to foods and things that you can eat to keep the cancer away, exercising that you can do to keep the cancer away. I have gone from, and this was in the last 8 months, I have gone from 286 pounds down to 209 pounds.
Congratulations.
Resources. Those are the things. I mean, I have lost another person, a person and a half, if you look at it that way. But there are so many things that you can do for breast health, wellness. Make sure, and see, the thing about it is that your mind, when your mind is set on something, your body will follow.
That's good.
So if your mind is set on wellness, your body will feel that wellness. And it's all in the resources that you surround yourself with. Surround yourself with positive people. Throw the negative out. You have to learn that there are some people can't go on this journey with you. So get rid of the negative. And surround yourself with positive people. That's going to feed life into your body. That's what this resource does. It feeds life into my body. It feeds health into my body. How to eat, how to exercise, how to be a better me. Because guess what? You're worthy. It always comes back to your worthiness and your ability to overcome the obstacles that's in your way.
Well, ladies, there you have it. The one and only Helen Mazier. And Helen, thank you again for sharing your powerful story. And again, to our listeners, thank you for joining us as we honor this month of
Right.
breast cancer awareness. If you've missed any of the episodes, go back and listen to each of the
Yes.
powerful stories that these courageous women, these champions are sharing. And if you need to know more about Phyllis Jenkins and the powerful journey, do go to phyllisjenkins.com. That's PhyllisJenkins.com. And you will find out about the Powerful Journey Masterclasses that we have, where you can put your story into a book and become a published author. We also have the Speakers Academy, where we help to bring clarity to your message, to your story, and we give you the platform to stand at our women conferences and share your story there. And we also have this podcast and several other resources. So hop on over to my website and you will be able to discover everything that we're doing to help women. We also present scholarships to single moms of special needs children so that they can continue their education to make a better life for themselves and for their family. So again, thank you for listening today. We'll see you back here next Wednesday on Power Lift Stories podcast. Helen, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone, be blessed today, and we will see you back next week.
Thank you for joining us today. If you are interested in being on the show, go to phyllisjenkins.com. You can also sign up for the Powerful Journey Masterclass or the Speakers Academy at phyllisjenkins.com.